Hello, Patriots. I'm Lee Watts, and this is Patriot Point, your source for Kentucky news and analysis from a conservative, Christian, and common sense point of view. This week, we'll be looking on the national level about how Mitch McConnell has just announced a resignation and what this means. Then we've got three huge issues we need to talk about here on the state level. There's been a bill proposed to expand abortion in Kentucky. There's another measure that would deal with starting to tax the churches. And third, there's a bill that's going to be a direct attack on homeschooling and Christian schools in the Commonwealth. Let's talk about the national issue. This Wednesday, Mitch McConnell announced that he is going to be resigning. Now, this is what he's done and not done. He has announced his resignation as the Republican leader of the United States Senate. He has not resigned as a United States Senator. He's just resigning in this leadership position that he has in Washington, but he'll still be the senator.
I'm interrupting this Patriot Point to bring you some late breaking news. I'm here at the Kentucky Capitol right now, where just a few minutes ago, the House Committee on Elections just passed House Bill 622. Now, let me explain the importance of this. In 2021, the legislature knew back then that Mitch McConnell's health was very poor and he might die in office. So they passed a law that says if the senator dies in office, then, according to the U.S. Constitution, the governor gets to appoint the replacement. They knew Andy Beshear would appoint himself. So they passed a law that says Andy Beshear can appoint somebody, but that person has to be from one, the same party as the dead senator, and will be from a group of three people that the party's leadership pre-selects for the governor to choose from. Andy Beshear has repeatedly said that he thinks this is unconstitutional and he's going to challenge that in the courts. So today, just a few minutes ago, the legislature realized, we got problems with this, so they passed this House bill that would repeal that law and replace it with this law instead. It says instead of the committee of the party selecting three people and there being no election, we will pre-select one person by party leadership, and that person will go against whoever the Democratic leadership chooses, and those two will go before the people for a general election. When they were proposing all of this back in 2021, there was a senator by the name of Senator Adrienne Southworth, and she actually proposed that at House Floor Amendment 5 way back then, seeing all the problems. They're really now making a law for what she proposed back then. So this has passed the committee. It's going to go to the House floor. It'll fly through there. It'll fly through the Senate. And it really doesn't matter if Andy Beshear signs it or not, because they would simply override a veto if he chose to do that. So that's what we've got coming to replace Mitch McConnell, and we'll keep you updated. Now back to your regularly scheduled Patriot Point.
Now, he has said that he's resigning for health reasons. Everybody's seen on national TV that his health is really, really bad. Now, here's the interesting part. He says he's going to resign for health reasons, but he's not going to do this until November. If you realize your health isn't good enough where you shouldn't be the leader, why wait nearly an entire year? The Republicans need strong leadership, especially with Biden running everything right now. And he's not going to be getting better over the year as you go on, probably going to continue to decline. What he should do is resign now, and we could have maybe elect a true conservative to be the leader up there, somebody in much better health. Maybe Senator Paul, Ted Cruz, or somebody else. So we need a true conservative in there. So Mitch is resigning from that position, but not until November. Oh, and before we get off of national news, I want to give a congratulations to Nikki Haley for getting a participation trophy and losing in her 5th straight primary election. Okay, now let's talk about things going on in this state. There is about to be a big showdown between the conservatives and the rhinos in the Kentucky legislature. That's right, it's showdown time. We're going to call some things out and call some people by name. They usually don't like when I do that, but you have left me no choice. Let's talk about House Bill number 711, HB 711. And this would expand abortion in Kentucky. It would say we are going to expand abortion and let people have abortions in cases of rape and incest. Now, this is something that Andy Beshear and the liberals have been pushing. They want to expand abortion. And on the surface, some people think, well, we should do that. Here's the reason why this is a horrible idea. And I'm going to ask you 3 simple questions. In cases of rape and abortion, is the baby still being killed? Yes, the baby is being killed in this. Next question, is the baby innocent? Yes, the baby hasn't done anything wrong at all and is being killed. The third question is, aborting this baby, does it make the previous crime magically disappear? And of course it doesn't. Just because one horrific crime has been committed, that does not justify committing another crime by murdering a child. At the end of the day, this is murdering a child, regardless of how they were conceived. And I, for one, could never stand before the Lord and said, yeah, Lord, I'm going to protect these kids, but these other kids, I'm going to say it was okay to murder and vacuum them apart in their mother's womb. What a horrific idea. Now, here are the people who are proposing this. You have, first of all, Representative Ken Fleming. He doesn't, by the way, he doesn't have a primary opponent this year. So that's the reason he's the one that's been carrying this bill, because he doesn't have to worry about repercussions. You got the second guy, Jim Gooch. By the way, Mr. Gooch used to be a Democrat, but here a few years ago, he kind of saw the wind blowing directions. So he changed parties. He said, oh, yeah, now I'm a Republican. And then you have finally Killian Timony, who is the most liberal Republican in the entire Kentucky legislature. And this is not a title that I have given him. There's a wonderful organization called the Family Foundation of Kentucky, and they keep a scorecard on the different representatives and how they vote on conservative issues. This guy gets the worst score out of all of them. On the Republican side, he only votes conservative 14% of the time. So this is an incredibly horrible score. By the way, he actually has a Republican opponent in the primary this coming May. And his opponent is a guy by the name of Thomas Jefferson. So what a name for your opponent against a guy who's a radical leftist here, masquerading as a Republican. I've not met Mr. Jefferson, but I will be very interested to learn more about him. So what you can do about this is you can contact your state representative and let them know that you would like them to oppose House Bill 711. We do not want expanded abortion in Kentucky. There's no excuse for murdering an innocent child. If you'd like to call the Capitol, the phone number is 1-800-372-7181. Let's talk about our next bill here. And this is a bill that would deal with taxation of the churches of Kentucky. A law was passed a few years ago that would allow taxation of churches, but they didn't enforce this law, but they're going to start enforcing it. So we have had a representative stand up to try and protect the churches. And this would say, listen, if you would like to run a Christian school, we're going to charge you sales tax for the books when you have books. If you had a bake sale, if you have any kind of a fundraiser, then you're going to have to start paying the state church for all these different things. And it's going to hit them on all kinds of different issues. So there's been a representative stand up and say, we shouldn't be taxing the churches. And he has proposed a bill. It is House Bill 442. To protect the churches from this tax. It is State Representative James Tipton who has stood up to defend the churches against Uncle Sam wanting to take the church's money. So good for Representative Tipton. He's kind of our sheriff of the week. I hope you will contact your state representative and ask them to support and co-sponsor House Bill 442 to protect the churches. Now, you get some crazy leftists who will get up and say, well, if we give an exemption to the churches, we got to give exemptions to other tax-exempt groups like Planned Parenthood. Do you realize Planned Parenthood isn't raising money through performing their abortions? They get funded through government grants. So the actual impact this would have on Planned Parenthood is almost nothing. The impact this would have on churches throughout Kentucky would be huge. So if anybody tries to pull that argument to you, let them know they're trying to pull a fast one on you. Encourage your state representative to support House Bill 442 to protect the churches. And by the way, he filed this bill back in January, and the Republican leadership in the House of Representatives, as of this recording, they haven't even sent it to a committee yet. Just thought I'd point that out. Let's talk about our third and final bill this week. And this is a bill that is a direct attack upon Christian schools and homeschooling in Kentucky. And this would say you have to have a state recognized high school diploma before you are allowed to teach any homeschool or to teach in any private school, which would include the church schools. So think about this. If you graduated homeschool, then you would not be allowed to homeschool your own children because you don't have a certificate from the state. Same thing, you wouldn't be allowed to teach down to elementary school even. Couldn't do elementary school, middle school, high school, because you don't have a state-recognized diploma. So you couldn't do Christian schools, you couldn't do homeschooling. This is a major attack on educational and parental rights, the right to educate our kids, and I don't want to have to get the state to certify what I have done and if I'm allowed to teach it to my own children. So this is a horrible bill. This is House Bill number 497. I hope that you will contact your representative. Again, the phone number is 1-800-372-7181 and ask them to oppose House Bill 497. So I got to call out the guys who are sponsoring this thing because got to let the people know. You have, first of all, Representative Timmy Truitt. Then you got Representative Scott Lewis. I met him. And on day one, he says he's up here for the Department of Education. Told me that to my face in his office. And then the other guy proposing this is Killian Timony again. Again, the guy who is the worst Republican in the entire state legislature. Not a big surprise there. So I hope you will oppose House Bill 497. That leads us to our final issue of the week. And each week I'm highlighting a candidate, somebody that we can support and get behind. Every week I say liberty's not a spectator sport. So that means we've got to participate. So each week I'm asking you to send 10, 20 bucks, maybe you can send 100 bucks to whoever is the candidate of the week, who is somebody who's going to be a true conservative and fight for conservative causes. This week our candidate is Senator Adrienne Southworth. By far, she is the champion for election integrity and election reform in the state of Kentucky. You can support her at Senate7.com. Senate, and then the number 7.com, because she represents the 7th Senate District in Kentucky. I know Ms. Southworth, she is an outstanding conservative patriot, a fighter, incredibly intelligent, and a great constitutional conservative. I hope that you'll help her get reelected. So I hope you'll send 10, 20 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever you can each week to the candidate. This week, it is State Senator Adrienne Southworth. Boy, the swamp hates her, which makes me really like her. I hope that she'll be up there continuing to fight for us for many years to come. Well, that's the news that we have for you this week. So until next week, I'm Lee Watts for Patriot Point, reminding you that liberty is not a spectator sport.